Hello, everybody. This is Noel the Red Devil, and we're here to talk about Gary Neville has finally had enough of all of this takeover nonsense. And I think as fans, we have also had enough of all of this takeover nonsense. When are the Glazers going to finally sell this club? We have waited since November, since they made the initial announcement. In fairness, a lot of fans thought that this whole process would be wrapped up in 3 to 4 months, but 7 months on, we're still nowhere nearer finding out if Sheikh Jassim's bid has actually won out, because there's conflicting reports everywhere. You don't know who to believe. There are a lot of accounts out there claiming that the deal is done, and then other journalists are coming out and saying that no, there's no deal done. They haven't entered into exclusivity. Again, is another thing I've seen today. Like, I mean, what is actually going on at Manchester United? And, you know, the bigger implication for all of this is the fact that their manager is the one that's going to suffer because of all of this uncertainty. Ten Hag did extremely well with the squad that he had last season. We won the League Cup. We should have realistically got into the Europa League final, but I do believe we ran out of legs. And again, he wasn't given enough players in his fourth season, but he made do with what he had. And, you know, he went and searched the market for players that he thought could do a job for him. And, you know, we finished third. We won the League Cup. We got to the FA Cup final. You know, again, another game where, you know, a lot of people think the gap is huge. I don't actually really think the gap is that big, to be quite honest with you. But Ten Hag needed clarity and needed all of this process to be done before the transfer window opened. Now, obviously, only the English window is open at the moment. In July, the international transfer window opens up, and Ten Hag right now has two hands tied behind his back, because we've got a rumored budget of between 100 and 150 million quid. And I see a lot of Manchester United fan accounts, we should buy this player, but he's worth 70 million, right? Oh, we should get this player, he's worth 90 million. I don't think, you know, I don't want to be criticising Man United fans, because the last couple of streams I have been very critical, and I don't want to be critical because, look, we're all in the same boat. I'm witches. We need to get these parasites out of the club. But you need to be realistic here, folks, right? The bottom line is the Glazers are not gone, and he's only got the budget of 100 to 150 million. So whether we like it or not, right, until all of this is resolved, Ten Hag has that budget, and for him to up the budget, he has to sell players, right? So we're not going to get all the players that you want in. And don't get me wrong, some of the choices and some of the players that fans have picked, I agree with. But we just don't have the budget for those players. So I think a lot of fans out there are kidding themselves. And there's a lot of fan channels actually fueling this. Oh, we've missed out on this player. We've missed out on that player. We haven't missed out on any player, right? The player in particular that they're talking about is Kim Min-jae, right? His release clause doesn't enact until July anyway, folks, right? So even though Bayern Munich are talking to him right now and they're offering him whatever they're offering him, Man United could come in, if they want to enact his release clause, they would enact it, and then they say to him, all right, what is Bayern Munich offering you? This is what we offer you. It's not a done deal yet, the way some fans are making it out to be. Don't get me wrong, right now, Bayern Munich seem to be in pole position, but if Manchester United decide to enact his release clause, the player will have a decision. But this Glazer, this whole nonsense needs to stop now. But this is just my opinion, but I've got a sneaky feeling that the Glazers are going to drag this out until the end of the transfer window, when the transfer window closes, or maybe even a couple of days before it closes, and announce the sale, right? And then obviously then Manchester United and Sheikh Jassim then obviously are going to be scrambling the last couple of days of the transfer window to try get in some decent players, right? Because right now every player we seem to be linked with is either going to Arsenal, Chelsea or Manchester City, right? So all of those teams are going to improve. Now, we don't know how good or bad Chelsea is going to be, but they absolutely had an awful season last season. But Manchester City are going to kick on, and they won a treble already, and they're strengthening even further. It's going to be frightening. Liverpool are strengthening, right? Arsenal are strengthening. And their poor manager has two hands tied behind his back because the greedy owners want 6 billion. This should have been done a long time ago. There should be an announcement soon. But God knows when. I've got a sneaky feeling they'll do it that way. And it's one last FU to fans that have been criticising their ownership. Listen, guys, he's took 2 billion out of the club. Manchester City put 2 billion in, invested 2 billion. You took 2 billion out, guys. I'm gone past being angry at you now. Because there's no point in getting angry. They've done all the damage. Our club has suffered for these last few years. Right? We've had to watch our team decline. Our club decline. And they don't care. But anyway, Gary Neville, like a lot of Manchester United fans, has had enough. And I've got the article here. It is in the link description, folks. So if you want to read this article for yourselves, you can. But I'll read it, give you my opinion on it, let you know what points I agree with Gary Neville. Do I agree with him fully, or is there things in it? So this is by Matt Cooper. He says, Gary Neville fumes at embarrassing Glazers again as Man United takeover drags on. Manchester United legend, I should say, Gary Neville, has hit out at the Glazers over the ongoing takeover saga, which continues to drag on more than 6 months after they first put the club up for sale. Gary Neville, right, but why do they have to actually say it 3 times? The Red Devils legend has been a high-profile critic of the Glazers since retiring from football in 2011 and moving into punditry. The Glazers announced back in November that they had put the club up for sale, but more than 6 months on, there has been no official announcement about the takeover. And that's the problem. This whole situation should have been realistically wrapped up 3 months ago. This whole process should have only took about 3 or 4 months. But everybody is giving out about Sheikh Jassim, not just giving the money. But the same could also be said about Sir Jim Ratcliffe, because if Sir Jim Ratcliffe was giving the Glazers what they want, they would have went with the Glazers, or they would have went with Sir Jim. Right? But none of these bidders have given them exactly what they want, and that's why they've dragged this out. And I think, and listen, you know, someone said it in the chat the other day, actually, and they're probably right. If they don't get what they want, they'll try hang on to the club until they do. So Gary Neville said, I think it's embarrassing, he told BBC Radio 5 Live when asked about the ongoing saga. But it's what they have done, drag everything out. It's always in their best interests and not the interests of the football club. And I did read another interesting article about apparently they have this motto in the family that none of them, or they have this rule that none of them in the family do interviews, because as soon as they start doing interviews, then it leaves them open to scrutiny. And this is why when any time they've caught up with Avram Glazer and they've asked him questions, you know, he hasn't given much, because they just don't talk. because as soon as you start talking, then that's when stuff starts getting all messy. So they keep all of this stuff to themselves. So Gary says, I thought they would wait until the end of the season and beyond the FA Cup final, said so they would be subjected to protests, and then it would be dealt with quite quickly. But just speaking to journalists and the people around the club, there is no news. The idea of Manchester United Football Club, with its millions of fans in this country and around the world, 650 million to be exact, not being updated by the owners in respect of ownership sale is quite frankly not good enough. But fitting with the Glazers' ownership and how they have operated silently and away from the club over in America for the past 20 years. And that's the biggest issue as well that I've had with them is that, you know, they've never communicated with the fans. They have they just don't care, and they have no desire to tell us. Listen, they won't tell us nothing about this. They've made everybody sign, you know, a confidentiality clause. So nobody speaks. Nobody's allowed. Even the people that are interested in buying the club are not allowed to speak up. That's how much in control and you know, they're a bunch of narcissists. You know, so they only look after their best interests. So if they don't get what they want, they will hang on. People say they can't hang on. They'll give it another year. You got Champions League football. If we're still in Europe after Christmas, right? They'll be thinking to themselves, yeah, we might get somewhere here. And if we're doing well in the league as well, and we're comfortably in the top four, that makes Manchester United a more valuable asset. And then they might actually get the 6 billion that they want. Neville also hit out with the Glazers earlier this month over the drawn-out process, negatively comparing them to Wrexham's Hollywood owners, Ryan Reynolds and Rob McInerney. Everyone's bored now, he said. And that's how I feel on all of this transfer nonsense, is the fact that I'm just bored now. I just want it to be over. That's what I mean. I'm gone past angry. There's no point. There they are there. Look. They just don't give a toss. I mean, out of the two brothers, I would say we've seen this guy more, Avram Grant. We've seen him more. Like, he's turned up at finals and all that. And fans have questioned that and stuff like that. And they're right to question it, because why now? But he has been seen more than the other siblings, let's be honest about it. But it's still not good enough. You're not directly communicating with fans. And that has been the biggest issue. And, you know, again, I always say to Manchester United fans, you know, you should be careful what you wish for. You know, because if Sheikh Jassim comes in, right, look at Manchester City's owner. He hardly communicates. Right, but they do everything right on the pitch that he doesn't have to. Right, I don't want another owner that doesn't communicate with fans. I want Sheikh Jassim to communicate with fans. Even look, it doesn't have to be all the time, but you know, he needs to get out there and show the fans that he cares, and we need to be hearing all of these things. And you know, when things are not going so well, he comes out and, you know, he backs the manager publicly. He has to back the manager publicly. You don't stay silent and do the dirty tricks that he did on David Moyes, Ollie, and all the other managers that we had. Remember, no matter what you think of all of those managers, every single one of those managers, the way they were sacked or let go was absolutely ridiculous, the way they handled it. That was embarrassing. But they don't care. These two pricks here and their family don't care. They don't care about Manchester United. They never have. And they will drag this out until they get the 6 billion. And it's absolutely ridiculous. Manchester United's not even worth 6 billion, by the way, folks. It's not. And we all know it's not worth 6 billion. But we're just hoping that whoever comes in to buy it pays the 6 billion just so we can get these parasites out. And at the end of the day, for me, that is the main objective. You know, I don't like these two bids. I don't like Sir Jim's bid, and I certainly don't like Sheikh Jazim's bid. But at the end of the day, I've got to play devil's advocate here, and I have to think about my club and think about where I want my club to be at. And, you know, if you look at the two bids, the Sheikh Jazim bid is a lot cleaner because he wants to clear the debt and actually, you know, upgrade the academy and the facilities and upgrade Old Trafford. And the most important thing is to give the manager the backing he needs for any players that he wants to bring in. And that's all at this point. That's all it is for Manchester United fans, just to get rid of these parasites from our club. It's embarrassing. It's more than embarrassing. It's heartbreaking as a Manchester United fan. Look, it's my birthday tomorrow. I won't tell you how old I am, but I'm supporting Manchester United nearly 40 years now. And for me, the first couple of years under the Glazers, we were still winning stuff. But after that, as a Manchester United fan, it's been absolutely heartbreaking. To see some of the decisions that Ed Woodward made, the players that were brought in, the managers. I mean, we got it. Look, no disrespect to David Moyes and Sir Alex, but the biggest mistake, I think, was the first mistake, and that was bringing in David Moyes and bringing in, obviously, Ed Woodward. And I think Ed Woodward was in before David Moyes anyway, but whatever, right? But bringing in David Moyes set off a trend and set us on this course, because when it didn't work out with him, we went out, got a new manager. They brought in their players. Then that didn't work out. We brought in another manager, brought in players for them. And then all the while, giving these players all ridiculous bloody contracts with ridiculous wages, right? And this is why we're in the situation we're in today, folks. Not just the Glazers and this takeover. I mean, we need to sell players to get more cash in for our manager, right? But if you look at players like Harry Maguire, McTominay, Fred, Donny van der Beek, Tellez, Boy, all of these players, right? They're on ridiculous wages, right? And most of these players will probably decide that they don't want to take a wage cut, which means then either Manchester United buy them out of their contracts, but then you're not getting money for those players. So you're actually, you know what I mean? I suppose you could probably use their future wages. I don't know if you can actually do that and maybe give the funds, release some funds to the manager that way. But you're going to find it very hard to shift these players. And so be under no illusion, right? And also on top of that, remember, anytime Manchester United go in for a player, right, the fee seems to rise up. But it's also the same, the opposite way when we try to sell players. They won't give us what these players are actually worth, and they try to squeeze the price down as much as they can, right? So we won't get the money. Fans are saying, oh, well, Fred's worth this much, right? We won't get what fans say he's worth. We won't get what fans say Harry Maguire's worth, right? Some fans are hoping that we get maybe 40 million, 50 million for Harry Maguire. We're not getting 40, 50 million for Harry Maguire. We'd be lucky if we get 20, 30 million. Nobody's going to pay that much for Harry Maguire. And then on top of that, then he apparently wants to fight and stay for his place and all of that. And he's on ridiculous wages. So to get rid of him, we'd have to pay him off, because if the media is telling the truth, this guy is not budging, man. Right? So to get rid of him out of the club, we'd probably have to pay him off. And then that's more money lost. Apparently, Ajax are interested in Donny van der Beek. I think that would be a good move for him. It's just such a shame I think everybody said at the time when we signed Donny, we didn't know what the point was in that signing. To be quite honest, Donny is a good player, but with the squad that we had at the time, we were like, well, where does he fit in? And I think that's the problem with Donny, unfortunately, is he just doesn't fit in with the way the manager was playing at the time. And of course, to add on top of that, unfortunately, he seemed to be injured quite a lot. So, if Ajax come in for him, it's a great deal. We should do it. I like Fred. Fred annoys people. He annoys me sometimes. He blows hot and cold all the time. He's very inconsistent, Fred. But I would keep Fred as a squad player. But apparently Fulham are looking at him. But apparently United want 30 million for him or something. But apparently Fulham are not willing to pay that. So that's what I'm saying. We're not going to get the money that we want for all of these players, and all of these clubs are going to squeeze us, right? Because they know that we're desperate for money, right? So they think they can get a cheap deal done with us. And that's the issues that we face. If Sheikh Jassim was in right now, we wouldn't care. Right. You wanna buy Fred for 20 million? All right, there's Fred, because we wouldn't have to worry about it, because we'd have that cash. We'd have a bit extra cash to spend, so we wouldn't have to necessarily worry about that. And then Sheikh Jassim would probably say, well, the money that you make on player sales goes into the kitty as well. Go ahead. But looking at some of these players that we're trying to get rid of, I'm just finding it very hard to see. I know McTominay is rumoured Newcastle, but again, I know they've got rich on us, but they're not stupid either. They won't want to be, they're not going to pay what we want for McTominay either. They're going to squeeze us as well, because remember, they're trying to. Well, Newcastle are in there. They're in the Champions League as well. I mean, Newcastle are there, like they're in the top four. And if they get in the right players, and some of the players they've been linked to are actually very good, they're going to be pushing on and consolidating that top four. So we need to do something quick, because we are being left behind, I just don't see how we're going to get rid of all of these players. I really don't. And I don't mean to sound doom and gloom. The wages that they're on, and that's the legacy of Ed Woodward. And remember, that's what I mean. We're still feeling the effects of his regime and the way he did things. And then on top of that, we've got these two pricks here in their family dragging this takeover process. And I firmly do believe they will announce the sale, and it'll all be wrapped up a few days before the transfer window closes. They're that vindictive. Listen, they know we hate them, right? And they're that vindictive that I honestly believe that they would do that as an FU to fans, because then their club is scrambling then the last 2 days of the transfer window to try bring players in. And remember, by the time we get to that point, most of the players that we've been linked to will already have been gone to different clubs. And then what does that leave us? Well, Ten Hag will have to do what he did last season and start going out and being smart in the transfer window and try get players that we probably even didn't know existed. Like, we can't get Harry Kane. I didn't want Harry Kane anyway, but no, a lot of United fans did. But we can't get him because the money they're looking. Declan Rice is another one we've been linked to. I think he's overrated. But again, the money that they want for him, we blow all their budget on one player alone. The only player I'd blow all of that budget on, the 150 million on, would be Mbappe. And I know we need other positions filled. But if you look at us last season, the main issue that we had, right? Okay, the goalkeeper was an issue because he couldn't play the ball out from the back, right? We do know that. Midfield is a bit thin, okay. But considering all of that, the main problem that we had was if Rashford wasn't scoring, nobody else was scoring. So if you were going to blow your 150 million, right, because Kylian Mbappe is on a free next year, right? He's not going to Real Madrid apparently, because Real Madrid have already said that they're done now with their business. So here's the thing: if obviously the president is telling the truth, but here's the thing: where realistically now can Kylian Mbappe go? Manchester City are not going to go for him because they have Haaland, and if they did, we'd all be screwed. Right? Arsenal out of their price range. Chelsea, no chance. Well, Bowley might. You never know with him, but I reckon no. So the only realistic place he can go is either Barcelona, but with all their financial problems, I don't see it happening. Sure, Messi. They were all saying Messi was going to go back to Barcelona last year after he signed for PSG, but he's gone to Inter Miami now. So obviously Barcelona couldn't do that deal. Right? So there's only one other realistic place he can end up at. And that's Old Trafford. Now, if Sheikh Jassim was to bloody get the club in the next couple of days, that's a deal that I believe can be done, folks. And I know people say it's a pipe dream. It's not a pipe dream if Sheikh Jassim takes over. Right? And I tell you, what happened is then players come in, clubs come in for our players, right? We try to get as much money as we can, obviously, to counterbalance with the financial fair play rules, right? But we get rid of Fred, McTominay and all them, Van der Beek. Now all that money will add up, and hopefully it'll counterbalance, and then bring in a few more, bring in the goalkeeper that we need, the midfielder that we need, and the centre-back that we need. And Kylian Mbappe up front with Rashford and Rashford out in the wing. Kylian, as I said, they can all interchange. Then you've got Anthony. We don't know if Sancho is actually going to be staying, but then Sancho, if he is staying, Garnacho, Pellistri. I mean, we're actually spoiled on the wing a little bit, to be quite honest. No matter what people say about Anthony and other players like that, we do have some talent there. I do believe that Garnacho should be starting ahead of Sancho anyway. And I think, I would actually say Sancho needs to go, because Pellistri for me then would be second choice when Garnacho rotate those two. And then we don't know what's going to happen with Mason Greenwood. And I know it's a feisty topic for a lot of people. But he's in the retained list because obviously he's still under contract. But Manchester United haven't made a decision either way yet. But if he does stay, and I'm just saying this because from a footballing point of view, if he stays, then that's another option as well. Nobody could argue about our front. Our attacking front three, but midfield we are a little bit weak, and we would. Fred and McTominay. Realistically, I know I said I keep Fred as a kind of a squad player. I have a soft spot for Fred though, Pastor Fred as we call, but I do. But it's not time to be sentimental. It's time we have to be ruthless as a club. So he has to go. McTominay has to go. Van der Beek has to go. I'd even go as far as to say sell Christian Eriksen now, because I think look, a lot of people say his injury stuffed him, and when he came back then he just looked gone. I don't think he has the legs anymore, to be quite honest with you. So, we need to rebuild our whole midfield. So Ten Hag has his work cut out for him. And with the budget that he has right now, that's why I think there's no movement from Manchester United in the transfer window. These clubs know that we've only got this budget, and they're trying to squeeze as much. Because look at these clubs. Remember, all of these clubs and clubs around Europe and all, we're in Champions League and all now. We're rivals. So they won't want us to improve. They want to keep Manchester United down at the level that they're at. And our owners are actually facilitating that right now. And it's absolutely disgraceful. But what can you do? These greedy people are not going away yet. I think everybody at this stage is just waiting on an announcement. I mean, I'm literally checking Twitter right now as we speak, just to see if there's anything, because this just needs to be over right now. I'm just past angry now. I really am. So I mean, there you go. I mean, apparently we've been linked to Courtois of Real Madrid, and we've offered 80 million euro, 69 million quid. But if we're spending that money, right, that's just say a third of our budget gone on one player. So unless the club knows something that we don't know right now, because if you're signing him from Real Madrid, right, and to be quite honest with you, I don't like him as a goalkeeper. That's just, and he makes mistakes. We talked about David De Gea making mistakes. This guy has a mistake or two in him. But he does have Premier League experience. I'm not, but again, 69 million quid. That's 70, say. Right, you've got a rumoured budget of 150 million. Right, and you've spent 70 on one player, and then you've got 80 million to play around with, right? And then you're hoping that you sell other players to add to that. This is going to be a shit show, man. Unless they know that unless the manager has been informed and the club has been informed, behind the scenes, that the deal is actually going to it's going to be done really, really soon. And now they're starting to go out now and look at these players. Because, you pay that for a goalkeeper, and we still need midfielders, and we need a striker. And if you look at the strikers that were rumoured to be after, sure, they're that kid Ramos Hojlund from Atalanta, isn't it? Yeah, they want 100 million for him, right? So if you're paying 70 for him, for Courtois, right, and you're paying 100 million for this guy, or even if you get him at a lower price, your budget is gone. That's two players, a goalkeeper and a striker, which would mean, if that's our business, then all we've done is brought in two positions, and we still have the same midfield that we had last season. And that means Harry Maguire is staying. Unless they sell, of course. But then when they sell Harry Maguire, you have to bring in a replacement centre back. So I don't know where we're getting all of this money, unless, as I said, the club know behind the scenes that this deal is getting done very, very soon, because he's not the goalkeeper that I want to be bringing in. I mean, United are supposed to be getting smart, are supposed to be smart in this transfer window. That's not smart business. I mean, I don't know who my preferred goalkeeper is anyway. Fans out there have given their opinions on goalkeepers. For me, the goalkeeper is a very awkward position. and it's a very difficult position to actually get right. For fans that probably aren't old enough, it took us an age to replace Peter Schmeichel. We were never the same when Peter Schmeichel left. The goalkeeper, we even brought in Barthez, flashy goalkeepers like that as well. And, they crumbled under the pressure. Goalkeeper is a difficult position to fill. I can understand why they'd want to go for Courtois because he has Premier League experience. But for me, he's not the goalkeeper, man. You spend that money on him, then you're not getting that striker. And that's what's baffling, man. You're not getting that striker. I don't know where people think we're getting all this money. All these fan accounts driving this stuff as well. We're losing out on this player and that player. We're not losing out on anybody, folks. We don't have the money. Right? We just don't have the cash. Right? Ten Hag apparently is angry behind the scenes that all of this hasn't, and he's right to be. But his hands are tied behind his back. The club, everybody's blaming the club. Remember, the only people that are responsible here for the lack of transfer activity and not knowing what we have is the Glazers, right? It's not the club's fault. It's not the manager's fault. It's not. All they can do is just let clubs know, look, these are our players that are for sale, and hope. That's the only business that's the only thing they can actually do, right? I mean, even the Mason Mount thing has gone quiet, but apparently we're signing him, right? So we're signing him for what? What did they want from 70 million, 60 million? So you're bringing him in for 70, 60 million. You're bringing in Courtois for 70 million. That's 140 million. That leaves us with 10 million. So where's our striker? Do you know what I mean? So the only people that are responsible for this are the Glazers, right? It's not the club, right? I do see fan accounts out there. The club is falling behind again. The club is clueless. It's not the club. It's the Glazers. And stop saying it's the club. It's not the club. Do you think Ten Hag is sitting on his arse right now, twiddling his thumbs? No. He's frustrated like us all, probably. He wants to get his plans in motion because we have a long pre-season We've got loads of games coming up. Right? You even heard him in one of his last interviews near the end of the season. He said it. He wants to get his transfer business done early. It was a clear message to the Glazers, that was. Right? But they didn't even listen to our manager. So it's not Manchester United's fault, right? And Manchester United are not missing out on players because all of this crap that Man United are looking at, this player, that player, and that player, this player, is bull crap, right? They've probably looked into Mason Mount, all right, because the English transfer window is open, and they've probably looked at other English players, right? And they probably have inquired about Kim Min-jae and all of that and stuff like that and made inquiries. Every club makes inquiries, right? But they need to test out the water. They need to make these inquiries to see how much these clubs are looking for all of these players. And it seems anyway that Kim enact his release clause, right? He's not going to cost that because his agent's fees are over 15 million and then there's 10 million add-ons or something. So that deal is going to be in excess of 70 million quid. There's no way we could sign him and a striker. And then they're talking about Courtois there. That's your budget is already gone. So this is why I don't talk about transfers, right, on this channel. What we've done is we've just We did a stream where we talk about who we were linked to and all of that, and that's it. We done one. I've been putting up little shorts of players that we've been connected to and all of that. But I've even stopped doing that. I'm not going to report on any transfer news until we actually have concrete, until we hear either Fabrizio Romano say, here we go, or whatever, until it's concrete. Because, you know, you're only going to do your head in as a Manchester United fan if you listen to all of these fan accounts out there. Remember, they're fueling. Look, they need to get you all to follow them, right? And all of this stuff. So they put out all of these stupid things by saying it's the club's fault and all of this to rile you all up, right? The real culprits here are the Glazers, right? And Ten Hag is probably sitting at home right now or sitting in the his office at Old Trafford, trying to get prepared for pre-season, and he's sitting there and he's going, what have I got myself into? And listen, may I just add that Ten Hag has one thing in common that Sir Alex Ferguson had, and that's the desire to win trophies and to be the best. Now, if the Glazers hang on to this club for another year and they diddy-daddle and they don't give the manager what he wants, be under no illusion. If another top club sees the situation there and thinks they have a chance to prize their manager away from our club, they'll do it. And I wouldn't be surprised if Ten Hag would go, because for him, he wants to win. Remember when he came in, the first thing he says, eras come to an end. And he means that. He wants to create a legacy here. He wants to create his own history with the players that he ends up having. So, you know, again, don't want to be doom and gloom, but this is why it's important that something is done. Again, I will say this, right? I mean, there were protests during the season, and it was great. Manchester United fans finally coming together, no matter what side they were on. Even the Glazer, the people that were kind of defending the Glazers, saw them for what they were eventually, and then the tide turned. But where's everybody now? Is this not the right time, right? While there's no football on, or domestic football on, to march to Old Trafford, to have a protest out of Old Trafford, to make it clear to these owners that our message hasn't changed. We want you parasites to get out of our club. Like, everything's gone quiet on that front. Should this not be? That is the time now to be outside Old Trafford, which is our banners, and demanding that they sell this club. That's what should be happening right now. And the people that have been behind all the marches and all the protests throughout the season, they've gone quiet. This is the time to speak up. They're delaying. They're going to ruin it. The Glazers are going to ruin our manager's transfer window again. Right? They sabotaged the last season. Then they found 150 million behind the sofa. Right? And the English transfer window is open right now. Right? And we can hardly do anything. And fans are moaning and complaining, blaming the club. As I said, it's not the club's fault. It's the Glazers' fault. Right? And then the international market is open very soon. Right? This is the time to be out protesting and marching outside Old Trafford. Letting these parasites, I know they don't care, but we've got to send a message. Because then what will happen then is Manchester United become international news again. People will start bringing it up again. You know, they say, and then people will start questioning, why has this process taken over 7 months? It should have been done within 3 or 4 months. Right? But 7 months later, we're still here. So, I don't. Look, it's not my place really. I don't organise these marches, and I have to say, I just want to say that the people that are behind them are great, and they do an absolutely wonderful job of highlighting everything that's gone wrong with this club. But I just feel that this is the moment where we need to be putting the pressure on, not relaxing the pressure. Our manager is going to get screwed over again, folks. Another manager. All because these parasites won't go. Now, Gary Neville doing that article today. Yeah, the Glazers will see that. It's international news. But we need more people. We need those protests to come back, to be quite honest with you. We need to keep putting the pressure on. I know they don't care, but we need to do something. We need to let the world has to see what they're doing to Manchester. Well, they are seeing what they're doing to Manchester United. Even financial experts in the industry are they're all laughing how this is all dragged out. Right? And Gary Neville is embarrassed as a former legend and a fan. I'm embarrassed. We've just seen Manchester City do a treble. And you think if they gave any crap about this club, they say that they do care. They come out with the odd state they care. They don't care. Right? If they did, they would have got this process done quickly and then said, Fecka, we made our money. We'll move on now and see you later. We'd still be angry and bitter, but they'd be gone. It's just desperate times that we're in. I don't know what I just after what Ten Hag done for us and made us believe in the team again. We got behind those players, the very same players that have let us down year after year. But he got us to get behind them. We got behind him. And we felt like a club again. And all of that can be unravelled. They've got to announce in the next. They have to announce. I mean, I don't even know what the delay is here now at this stage. But they just have to. I mean, they put out their post. They just goes to show you because they're all commercial. They put up a post to release that tell us now that the new Manchester United jersey will be out on the 27th of June. The new home kit. Right? While Manchester United fans are waiting and the world is waiting for the club to be sold, the official account is flogging the new season. And look, it's not the official accounts. They have to run the accounts, but you get what I mean. It's not what Manchester United fans really need to be seeing right now. They really need to see that here we go and it's done. But I don't know, man. There's no more to really say. But apparently we're selling Zidane Iqbal for £1 million. £1 million. Right? And someone said it here on Twitter, and it's probably a spot on. He'll come back when we sign him for 80 million in 3 years' time. I mean, it's absolute. Look, Ten Hag probably looked at him, probably doesn't think he can offer at the club, but £1 million. I mean, we're that desperate. I mean, the fans, even the fans are like, what's going on here? Sad times. But look, we keep saying it, but hopefully this week or next week. I hope it's this week, but I just hope that this is resolved because, yes, we are behind on the English transfer window if we want to bring players in. But I say we're looking at a lot of international players anyway. And we will bring in a couple of English players as well, no doubt. But if it's announced, we can catch up. We could still do good business, is what I'm trying to say. There are still players out there that we can get. And it will be game over if Sheikh Jassim comes in anyway, because there will be that extra little bit of money, and I'm pretty sure they will know. They will stay within the rules anyway, because Manchester United will. They'll stay within the rules. We'll still be able to bring in players. It's not a total. It won't be a total write off if we get the announcement this week. But the longer it goes on, folks, the more difficult it becomes for our manager to bring in players. And again, it would be very fitting of the Glazers anyway to screw over another manager before they leave. And I don't look at Ollie didn't deserve it, no matter what you thought of him as a manager. I don't think Jose Mourinho deserved it either. I know he divided fans. Louis van Gaal was a bit of a crazy manager, but again, he didn't deserve to be treated the way he was treated either. And the way they sacked David Moyes still, to me, is the most disgusting. Actually, him and Louis van Gaal's sackings are the most disgusting. That happened. They just don't have any respect for anybody. And that includes our managers. Ollie, a legend, and they said they'd back him on this long term. Look, it didn't work out. It was never going to work out with Ollie, but we backed him. And he gave us that. We went on this wild run under Ollie, and we played some lovely, beautiful attacking of football. I mean, I was watching the Man United channel on YouTube put up, I think that it was called Goals Under Ollie Gunnar Solskjaer, and Jesus Christ, man, we scored some beautiful counter-attacking goals. I mean, he really did. I mean, Ollie was the first part of basically us feeling like it was a club again. And he gave us that back, and we'll always be thankful to Ollie for that. And he is and always will be a legend in my eyes. I never thought he should have got the job in the first place, but I backed him for as long as I could, like everybody else did. But he had to go. But then the club bring him on to do that interview. I mean, Jesus Christ, you've just sacked the man. I know Ollie wanted to do it, but any club with decent morals would have said, look at Ollie, I don't think it's a good idea. You're not emotionally in a fit state to do it, Fans know how much the club meant. Your statement is enough. But no, they drag him in front of the camera because it was another distraction, and it's pathetic. I'll never forgive them for that. The way they treated Ollie. No. So I'll just check one more time to see if there's anything. So there doesn't seem to be acting on Manchester United. It's not, yeah. So there doesn't seem to be acting at all. It's typical. I mean, Nottingham Forest are keen to sign Dean Henderson for 25 million. Oh no. Oh, sorry, they're keen, but the 25 million asking price is a stumbling block, apparently. Listen, that's about right for him anyway. And Nottingham Forest owner has a bit of quid. Listen, man, he's worth about 25 million, so bloody take the bleeding goalkeeper for 25 million. This is what I'm telling you, folks. They're going to squeeze us. They'll probably get him for 15. And again, there we go. Here's another one just in. Fulham are interested in signing Fred. United want 20 million, more than Fulham is willing to pay. See, they know we're desperate, right? I think 20 million is reasonable for Fred. Right? So, this is what we have to deal with. This is what we have to deal with. We're not going to get the money that we should be getting for players that we're selling. And then on top of that, some of these players are gonna make it hard, for the simple fact of the matter is they're on the huge wages and they won't want to take a wage cut. So there you go. Fabrizio Romano says that Man United are interested in Romeo Lavia, but the priority is still Mason Mount. You know, that's 60, 70 million for him, 60, 70 million for the goalkeeper. In Real Madrid, that's your budget gone. People are saying that Ten Hag might leave. So, just looking at it, because I follow a lot of just on this. I'm on Twitter under Noel the Red Devil. If you want to go and follow me there, and I follow a lot of Manchester. It's all mostly Manchester United accounts anyway, because obviously I talk about Manchester United, but there's nothing. It's absolutely ridiculous. So, what can you do? We just have to wait until these parasites go. And the unfortunate thing is we don't know when. You know, do you remember when they made that announcement? We were all so happy. We were all delighted. And 7 months on, and now we're wondering what the hell's going on. It's just a sad state of affairs. I mean, even if you're not a Manchester United fan, as I said to football fans out there in general, you should be disgusted the way one of the greatest football clubs has been used. Because one day it could be your club. And the reason why I say that is because the direction that the game is going in now, it's all money now, you know, and football teams want these billionaire owners, you know. The soul of the game is gone, to be quite honest with you. And it's sad, but that's the modern game, and that's what we're dealing with. And we're going to be left behind if they don't hurry up again. And I just can't take another. See, this is another reason as well. I just can't take another season of our fans bashing these players again. You know, and don't get me wrong. Before last season, all of those players did deserve to be bashed. Don't care what anybody says. They were dreadful. They were awful. They didn't play with pride. They didn't play for the jersey, right? But the season just gone, they did. Yes, we got some horrible results, Jordan, that, but it wasn't all perfect, right? But on the whole, we had a much better season than a lot of people thought we'd have, right? So he's building real momentum. And it's just going to be a shame that all of that momentum is going to be lost. These parasites don't go or don't announce something soon. I mean, the fact that Sheikh Jassim has registered the 92 Foundation is a good sign and stuff like that. But what's the feckin' delay? Like, what else is there to negotiate? I just don't get this. Or maybe there's a reason why there's a delay. We don't know, because I don't know much about the New York Stock Exchange and all of that. There might be rules in place where a deal is done behind the scenes, but you have to wait a certain amount of time before they announce it, and that's what's happening here. But you see, this is where I think the Glazers should actually, do the right thing, though, and say to fans, look, the deal is done. This is when officially the club is handed over, but we have to wait this amount of time for it to be whatever processes need to be done. And I think fans would be right, okay, right, we got a date, right? And they might be happy with it, but at least they'd have an end game. And that's the problem. We don't have an end game. And that's why it's frustrating. I'm not angry. There's no point in getting angry anymore. The anger went, look, even the season just gone, I swore to myself that, when I was watching Manchester United matches, I was just going to go in with an open mind, because the season before and the season before that, I was an absolute wreck, and I was getting really, really annoyed and angry. And I didn't like that side of me at all, because it was stressing me out. And you shouldn't be getting stressed out about football. We should be enjoying it. Yeah, we'll get results where we've lost. That happens. But to play as badly as we played over the last couple of seasons before Ten Hag came in was just unacceptable. Anyway, though, I'm going to wrap it up there, because until there is news, there's nothing more really to talk about. But imagine selling one of our players for $1 million. Ridiculous. But you know what they say, if you live in the UK or Ireland, you have this food chain called Tesco, and their motto is every little helps. So I suppose every little helps. It might be £1 million, but it's still £1 million more than what we had. But it is absolutely ridiculous. You should have put that player out on loan. But there you go. But we'll see anyway. All right, folks. Listen, chin up, Reds. Hopefully we get so. We'll keep saying it, and I'll keep saying it. I think all Man United fans will keep saying it. Hopefully something is done this week. Because the longer this goes on, because look, the fandom is completely toxic right now. And I think there's a lot of frustration out there. But it's sad to see fans at each other's throats when the real problem and the real focus of all of our attention should be on our owners and why they're dragging their feet on this. Listen, the club is not even worth $6 billion as parasites, right? Sheikh Jassim's bid apparently is over $5 billion. Take the bloody money and get out of our club. Okay? It's just pure greed what you are looking for. The club is worth between 3.5 to 4.5 billion. It's not worth $6 billion and never was worth $6 billion. So take the money that's being offered and get out. We've had enough. Right? Simple as that. And with that, I will say good night to you all. I would say enjoy the rest of your evening, but as a Manchester United fan right now, are we really enjoying our evenings? I don't think so. But look, we make the best of it, won't we? As we always do as Manchester United fans. But after this Glazer regime is finally gone, remember, folks, we should never settle we should never lower our standards again or settle. Right, we are Manchester United. We're Manchester United fans. Right, when it comes to our club, we want the very best, the cream of the crop. Yeah, and that's the way we should be doing business. Anyway, good night. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and I will see you soon. My name is Noel. I'm from Dublin, Ireland. Manchester United fan. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and if you haven't subscribed, please do. We'll have a lot more of these streams. Also, as I said, I will be covering pre-season and obviously the whole season then after that. I will be on camera after when pre-season kicks in. Just for now, I'm off camera, but I've got a camera there and I'll have it all set up, and then you will finally see me face and stuff like that, because I know a lot of Manchester United fans, when they go on to these sort of channels, they want to see who is talking behind the avatar. So when we get into the nitty gritty of pre-season, I will be on camera and we will talk, and hopefully there'll be a lot more people subscribe to the channel, and hopefully we'll get some people in the chat. I can interact with you all. Just give me your opinions. Let me know what you think about what we're talking about. And it is very important, and it means a lot to me, because I run another YouTube channel. But there's one thing that that YouTube channel has that I want to bring here, and that's getting you guys involved. A lot of fan channels out there pretend to get fans involved, and they don't. I will truly get fans involved, and if anyone to come on and discuss after games and stuff like that. I know emotions can run high sometimes, but bring fans on to talk about a particular game and to give their opinion, their analysis of what they saw and stuff like that. So if you're interested in all of that, get subscribing to the channel, get interacting into in the live chat when we do streams like this, guys. And as I said, we'll get you involved on the channel, and hopefully then, you know, we can look forward to an even better season than the one we had just gone. You know, right now it's a pipe dream, but hopefully we wake up with a miracle, and that's what we need right now. But good night, fellow Reds. I'll talk to you soon. Have a good one.